Superman is finally here. My hype for this movie has been insatiable, and I was beginning to get scared that it wasn't going to be good. But I don't know what I was worrying about. I've seen this movie 2 times now, and I'm on fire. I'm gonna watch it again for the 3rd time tomorrow. I guess I spoke too soon because I thought Thunderbolts would be my #1 superhero film of the year. It's great, it's a great movie, and nothing changes that, but I think Superman is taking that spot. It's got the action, it's fun, it's got heart and sincerity. We'll talk about all of it. This is Witch Atlas and welcome to another video. It's no secret that DC has struggled to build their own cinematic universe. Despite the Superman and Batman movies being big decades ago, they didn't really have a Kevin Feige figure that could oversee and could spearhead a giant multi-movie franchise. They tried, and the results were mostly a mess. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed some of those DCEU movies. I loved the first Wonder Woman. I enjoyed the 4-hour Zack Snyder's Justice League. Birds of Prey was great. Blue Beetle was fun. But I had the hallelujah moment that I can imagine DC executives had too when James Gunn came in swinging with a Suicide Squad. That movie is one of my favorite movies of all time, of all genres. And here we are, 2025, Superman and a soft reboot of the DC universe. I've been excited for Superman for a long time, and now the quality of this movie has just made me excited for everything that's to come from the DC universe. This movie is so good that I'm excited for everything this franchise has to offer now. But let's stay in the present. Superman is great, let's get into it. Please be warned, there will be spoilers. Part 1, Story. For a quick rundown, the story takes place not long after Superman starts being an active public hero. He just stopped a country called Baravia from invading another country called Jarhanpur, and he's dealing with a lot of the modern political and social consequences of that. Corrupt politicians are mad, Lex Luthor hates Superman, so he takes this opportunity to rally the world into turning against our supes. We got a lovable alien hero who is kind and good-hearted, who just wants to protect the world and save people, and a pathetic tech billionaire bad guy who's really just an envious, tiny man. Hilarity ensues. We'll talk more about the themes of the movie in a bit, because it hits so precisely and it's so relevant in our 2025 world, and it's in part because of that relevance why this movie is so full of hope. At the end of the day, this is a narrative about being a good person. There are a lot of things going on with a lot of characters, and there are a lot of moving pieces, but at the heart of everything is our man, Clark Kent. With all the complicated stuff in the modern world, he just wants to do the simple thing, saving people, and that is who I really want to discuss first. Part 2, Clark Kent, Superman. David Corenswet is Superman. I mean, duh, not only does he look the part, but in terms of characterization and in terms of embodying Superman, he is the character. There are 2 points of praise here. The actor, yes, for being Superman, but also the team behind the Superman. The writer, the director, the costume designer, everyone behind the scenes involved who made this hero. It feels like everything came together so perfectly to make this giant beacon of hope. Superman finally has a personality, and it's not just any personality, it's a really charming, really likable one. This movie worked hard to emphasize his character, that he just wants to do good and save lives, that he believes in the good of people. In the age of edgy, jaded, morally gray heroes, not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just so refreshing to see someone who's just sincerely nice and classically heroic. Aang is one of my favorite fictional characters. That boy just wants to do his best at being the Avatar and help people. I don't care what anybody says. I think good-hearted characters are interesting as fuck, especially when they're put in complicated worlds in need of help. Characters like Aang and Superman really shine, and they really make me want to believe in the best of humanity again. And we need more of them. Ethan Hunt too, you know, a guy who will just do the right thing. We need more of those heroes. I have 3 standout Superman moments from this movie, and yeah, the action, the fight scenes in this movie, they're good, they're great, but it speaks so much about the quality of the writing that my favorite Superman moments from this movie are not action scenes, but in fact, they're the more intimate character moments. One is when Lois and Superman are talking, and Lois says that she doubts everyone, but that Superman doesn't. He believes in the best of people, he thinks that everything and everyone is beautiful, and Superman says that maybe that's the real punk rock. And fuck yeah, that made me tear up. I got emotional. In our world today, where everything is mean and dark, and where it's so easy to be cynical, I know I am, the real act of rebellion is to believe that things and that people can be good. I love that. I love him. The second one is when he talks about surrendering himself so that he can find Krypto. Lois says that he's just a dog, and Superman says, yeah, and he's not even a very good one, but he's alone and probably very scared. And that made me emotional again. This Clark is just so full of compassion. When there was a giant kaiju and he didn't want to kill the kaiju, he wanted to put it in a specialized zoo. That's his compassion. When he was saving that fucking squirrel, that's his kindness and his compassion. He just cares about living things. Clark Kent, Superman, in this movie, This man is just a good person, and now more than ever, I feel like we as audiences really need that. The third moment I loved was when he was talking to Pa Kent. At this point, he's so lost after finding out that his parents wanted him to conquer Earth, but Pa Kent tells him that he is who he chooses to be, and he tells him that he's so proud of Clark. And at that point, I was just bawling. I was crying. I was like, I'm proud of you too, Clark. Another standout moment, I know I said I only had 3, but whatever, I really love how they wrote Superman in this movie, so just bear with me. I know you have a lot of favorite moments too. When he gave a speech to Lex Luthor about how his humanity is his biggest strength, and how he still has hope that Lex will learn one day, and that that'll be for the good of humanity when he uses his brains to improve humanity, loved it. I love the concept of Superman's humanity being his biggest strength, not his Kryptonian powers, and I love that he still has faith that Lex Luthor can still be saved and be good one day. That's, again, his compassion and his kindness and his faith in people. And at the end, when the Superbots said that they were going to play footage of his parents because it soothes him, and the reveal is, this time it's not videos of his Kryptonian parents, but it's just footage of his life with the Kents. What the fuck, James Gunn? Who gave you the right? That got me crying. That was like the final shot of the movie, I think, and I was crying at that point. That was a very sweet, sincere moment in a very sweet, sincere movie, and I didn't think that I would be this emotional watching a Superman movie, but this movie really moved me, alright? I'm just so glad that we have a Superman now whose biggest character trait is his compassion, his kindness, his goodness, his desire to save people. We need this guy now more than ever. Yes, he is a god among humans, technically, but that doesn't mean that he has to be an indifferent, cold man. He can be, as this movie shows, a warm, lovable symbol of radical hope. Fuck yeah. The fact that Lois says that he looks at social media sometimes and gets sad about the hate that he's getting as Superman, or that he gets particularly infuriated by the super shit hashtag, these things just make him more lovable and make him someone you can root for as a character. Super shit cracks me up, by the way. You monkeys are so fucking wrong for that. I will talk about the other characters in the moment because, as I said, this movie is so full of them, but right now I really want to talk about the themes. Part 3, Hope and Good. If you're still enjoying this video, please consider leaving a comment or a like, or maybe even a subscribe. I'm a small channel and that would help me out a lot. Thank you. This movie has a very relevant, very current narrative and thematic through line. With all that's going on in the world right now, it's a story that's sadly very true to our times. We've got corrupt tech billionaires, political regimes, and us, tiny everyday people just trying to make safe, happy lives for ourselves. I'm very glad for that. Superman shouldn't be a hero who stands for some vague and unspecified idea of what is good. He should be a hero that has something current and concrete to say, and in this movie he has that. Part of the reason why I got so emotional while watching this movie is because a lot of the situations that Superman is dealing with are situations that are going on right now, in our real world. Who would have ever thought that not wanting innocent people to die as collateral damage for the actions of billionaires and politicians would be a brave, radical statement? This movie is kind of a hopeful fantasy, and it's sad that we need it, but I'm really glad that it exists, and I love it. The world in this movie is a world lucky enough to have a super powerful being who will protect the tiny, everyday people like us from corrupt corporations and fascist politics. I wish we had that in our world. A Superman who will stand up for the people who need it. We have all of the bad things happening in this movie. Well, not the kaijus and that kind of stuff, but the evil billionaires and the corrupt politicians. We have that, and a lot of people are being negatively affected by them, but we don't have the Superman who will protect us. So I guess we'll just have to save each other. And that's Superman, isn't it? He inspires people to stand up. That's in the climax of the movie. He inspires other heroes and people to stand up and hope and fight. I did not ever imagine a Hollywood studio would do something like this. To have a very relevant story for its superhero blockbuster, especially one that's intended to start a franchise. I thought they would play it safe. Doing this is a risk I never thought a studio would take, but I'm so glad they had the balls to do it. Part 4, Characters. Now, Nicholas Hoult, not to be a slut for a moment, but I've had a crush on Nicholas Hoult since I was young. The girls, the girlies, the gays, the divas, we remember warm bodies. Yep, we remember warm bodies. I have been unhealthily adoring this man for so long, but let me tell you, it speaks so much to the quality of his performance that the levels of hate that I had for him in this movie were astronomical. He was so fun to watch, and he was so irritating and so pathetic, and yet so incredibly dangerous and malevolent. David Corenswet as Superman and its fantastic casting, but that shouldn't overshadow how fabulous and amazing Nicholas Hoult is as Lex Luthor. I don't want to say that Nicholas Hoult is Lex Luthor because that's not a compliment, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. He is very much that character. I'm not saying that he's evil in real life, but he really embodies that very well. He was so good in this role. He was seething and bothered, and he was unhinged in all of the best ways. The fact that he has an army of monkeys hate farming on Superman, the fact that he's bald. Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane was amazing as well. I love how smart she is as a journalist, and I love how she has this sense of coolness about her. Her vibe is just very laid back and yet very competent. I would trust her in a building fire. You know, I would look around the room and without even knowing her, I know that I would be able to trust this woman to lead me to safety. I love her relationship with Clark too, and I love that she doesn't just say yes to everything that he says or does. I love that she actually questions him and they actually have a conversation, because I think that makes them better and their relationship better. But also I love that ultimately, even though she questions Clark, she still provides a safe, loving space full of support for him. I think the main trio of Clark, Lois, and Lex were perfectly cast, and I'm so excited to see more of them. I love the Justice Gang. Mr. Terrific was, well, terrific, duh. He was so cool and calm, and it felt like he had a handle on all the situations. Loved him. Hawkgirl does a scream every time she attacks, and it's just so pleasing to my brain every time she screams. I want to see more of her. I want to see more of everyone, actually. Hawkgirl has this very cool scene where she's taking the evil politician out, she's flying him out, and he's like, "You're not gonna kill me, you heroes are too good, y'all are not gonna kill me." And she was like, "I'm not like Superman," and she just killed him. Love her. Yes, we need more of that energy, actually. We need more of her. My unexpected MVP for this movie, though, Eve. We can't not talk about Eve. This diva, this genius, this woman who took pictures of Lex Luthor's evil schemes disguised as sexy selfies. Lex is the kind of guy who's proud enough to never doubt anyone who looks and sounds like Eve, to be smart enough to do something like what Eve did. It makes sense. He's full of enough hubris to never suspect that someone like her would ever be clever enough to pull something like that. She is the moment. I relate to her. I'm not gonna expound on that, but I relate to her. Also, Kara. I did not read any leaks before I watched this movie, so that was such a giant heartwarming surprise that Kara Zor-El would be here, Supergirl. And I've only seen like 3 seconds of her from this movie, but she's perfect already. Thanks for watching him, bitch! I'm actually more of a Supergirl fan than I am a Superman fan, actually. I read some of her comics back in 2015, 2016, and I was obsessed with the first season of the Supergirl show. Seeing how good they did Superman, I'm just so excited for Supergirl. And Krypto, how could I forget? Love the shit out of this dog. I was so scared, actually, that they were going to do something bad to him, like he would die or something when the Fortress of Solitude was being attacked and he got attacked. I was so scared that the dog would die. I would have walked out. If they did something horrible to this dog, I would have walked out. Krypto was so funny. I felt such a catharsis when he just beat the shit out of Lex. Love that. They should not have stopped the dog. Let the dog loose on Lex. Yes, dog. Part 5, the future. At this point, I don't need to say it, this movie fills me with so much joy. Tonally, it was just so uplifting. In the best ways possible, this movie actually feels like a comic book. And it did a good job of making its characters feel grounded and sincere enough that they can be solid enough foundations for a big world full of pocket universes and kaijus and interdimensional imps. Even with all of that, because of these characters that are so fleshed out and wonderfully written, you can have a world that's still believable and feels lived in. I love this world and I love this movie, and if this is where the DCU is going to take place, I'm just incredibly excited for everything that the future holds for the cinematic universe. I'm a huge Young Justice fan, which might be controversial because that show has a lot of haters, which is valid and fine. I'm not gonna fight any of you, but funnily enough, what I love about Young Justice is what a lot of people don't like about Young Justice: the scale and the scope of the story and the world. In Young Justice, characters come and go with barely any introduction or explanation. The story rolls and you just have to deal with it. The world keeps turning, full of supervillains and evil plots. And the world in this movie made me feel like that again. It's a big, busy world full of big, busy heroes. And as excited as I am for the DCU in general, I need them to get their shit together and announce Superman 2 as soon as possible. I mean, they released Iron Man 2, what, like 2 years after the first Iron Man? Let's do that! With the right script and the right story, of course, but let's do that! I know Supergirl is coming out next year, and I'm really hyped for that, but I've now become a fan of Superman, and the people in the city that he interacts with, and I want more of him. I want more of this world, and I want more of this movie. Superman, what did you think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you also ever expose an evil tech billionaire by taking evidence disguised as sexy selfies? Please tell me in the comments. I would love to know. That's it for me. I'm out.